Welcome to Whole and Healthy Cooking with Chef Val. I am Chef Val. I've been teaching healthy, whole foods cooking classes for 24 years. You can find out all the information you need about me on macroval.com, my website. And all 5 of my cookbooks are available for sale there on my website. In fact, I wanted to talk to you about one of my cookbooks. So each one of my cookbooks is unique upon itself, and each one has a little story to tell. So today I just want to talk to you about year-round healthy holiday dishes. This is one of, the cookbooks that took me the longest to write and create. It took 5 years for me to write this book, but I actually have been thinking about creating a cookbook like this ever since I first started teaching cooking classes. Because when I taught cooking classes, I would teach with different themes. So for 24 years, I've been teaching classes for Valentine's Day. I've been teaching classes for Father's Day or Mother's Day. So I thought this was a great book. Now, the cookbook starts with the Thanksgiving dinner. So every year, I host a sit-down Thanksgiving dinner where my students come. Now, I cook all the food, and they get to enjoy it. These are some of my best recipes. Tofu turkey served with a whole grain stuffing, millet mashed potatoes with onion gravy, a sweet and sour kale dish, and of course pumpkin pie for dessert. And then we go on to Christmas dinner. So for Christmas every year, my family gets together, and a few years back I created this mincemeat pie recipe. So mincemeat pie, growing up as a kid, was always a standard recipe that we had, and my grandmother used to make the mincemeat pie every year. In fact, this cookbook is lovingly dedicated to my grandmother. That's my paternal grandmother. And so I wanted to make mincemeat pie, but I wanted to make it authentic. How did they make it a long time ago? How did my grandmother make it from scratch? So I call her up on the phone and I ask her, when you make your mincemeat pie, what's your recipe? What's your secret? And she told me, well, I go to the store and I buy a jar of mincemeat pie filling. And then she would add apples to it. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought she was making it from scratch, but no, she was buying what was in the store. So to create my mincemeat pie recipe, I really did some research to find out what they put in it a long time ago. Of course, all my recipes are vegan, so there's no meat in it. So it's dried fruit, and it's some wonderful spices, and it's now my family's favorite pie, mincemeat pie. And then we have holiday goodies. So every year, growing up as a kid, I used to make Christmas cookies. I've been doing it ever since I can remember. And so one of my favorite Christmas cookie recipes was a ginger cookie with frosting. So when I changed my diet and I became vegan and whole foods, I took all those childhood cookie recipes and I converted them and made them healthy. I don't use white refined sugar, so I use things like brown rice syrup, barley malt, maple syrup to make them healthier. And I don't use white flour. I use whole grain flours. So the soft ginger cookies with the frosting is my favorite cookie recipe. Now, I also make chocolate truffles. I actually, many years ago, had a dream about chocolate truffles. And I then woke up from the dream and I created my chocolate truffles recipe. That chocolate truffle recipe is right here in the cookbook also. My regular students, this is their favorite, the chocolate truffles. Moving on in the cookbook, and then we have Valentine's Day. So for Valentine's Day, I have put one of my all-time best recipes. Everybody requests this recipe. It is my chocolate cream pie with cookie crumb crust. That's right here in the cookbook also. And it's a creamy chocolate filling and a cookie crumb crust. And then next we have Mother's Day. So this is lovingly dedicated to all the recipes that my mom loves. And one of the things that my mom loves is my split pea and sweet potato soup. When I made this soup, again, it was many years ago, I had her try it, and she thought it was the most delicious soup she's ever had. So that recipe is in here too. Now, one of my recipes that I'm famous for, that many people that come to my cooking classes and even my friends and my family, is my whipped garlic. This is my version of that white garlic sauce you get at those Mid-Eastern restaurants that's very garlicky. So many years ago, I created my version of it. And what happened was my parents have a timeshare condo down in Florida. And so my mom made this whipped garlic recipe down in Florida one time, and she served it to her friends, and they went crazy for this recipe. So she was kind of known as the whipped garlic lady down there, although she told everybody, this is not my recipe, this is my daughter's recipe. So here's my whipped garlic recipe. This is the only cookbook that has the whipped garlic recipe. So the only way you can get that recipe is if you attend a cooking class where I teach it, or you get the cookbook. And then we have Memorial Day. So for me, Memorial Day, that starts summer. And for me, summertime is going up north to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and traveling. So I like to make travel food, which are sandwiches and roll-ups. So one of my favorite is my fermented tofu miso sandwich. I give you step-by-step instructions on how to ferment the tofu with the miso, and then we put it on whole grain bread. So this is a fermented tofu sandwich, one of my favorite sandwiches. Father's Day. So these recipes are lovingly dedicated to my dad. My dad is great at the grill. He always grills for us during the summer. And so one of our favorite things when we get together as a family is our Portabella mushroom burgers. So that's the first recipe in the Father's Day section. Portabella mushroom burger recipe. And of course, my dad is a huge chocolate fan. So also in this section is my chocolate zucchini cake with a chocolate ganache icing, one of the best desserts I've ever created. And then 4th of July. So 4th of July is when we're outside cooking, grilling. I love cooking outside. So 4th of July has a grilled romaine lettuce salad, a grilled tempeh salad served over fresh lettuce, grilled peaches in fig sauce, and also has a couple salads, because in the summertime you want to eat cooling salads, a quinoa broccoli corn salad, and a cucumber corn salad. And since my birthday is in July, the 4th of July section also includes my favorite dessert, blueberry pie. The blueberry pie recipes right here. Moving on to Labor Day. So again, Labor Day for me always meant going up north to the Upper Peninsula to my grandparents' farm. So again, the book is lovingly dedicated to my grandmother, and she used to make a dessert called Apple's Crow's Nest, where she would grow all these apples at her farm, and she knew the name of each different one. She knew the flavor of each different one, and she would create this delicious apple filling, and then she would put biscuits on the top and bake it, and we loved it. So again, I changed the ingredients to make them healthy and whole foods, and I've got apple crow's nest. Mine is more like an apple filling, an apple pie filling, and then I have a vanilla cake on the top, and it's the apple crow's nest. That's in the Labor Day section. And then we have Halloween. So I end the cookbook with one of the best recipes I've ever created, and all my students agree: pumpkin lasagna. So I use brown rice lasagna noodles, and I use vegan cheese, and there's some tempeh in it. And I have created a sauce using pureed pumpkins because I don't cook with tomatoes. Tomatoes are a nightshade vegetable. And if you want to learn more about nightshade vegetables, you can watch the video on Whole and Healthy Cooking, all about nightshade vegetables. But anyways, in the cookbook, it's pumpkin lasagna, and that's the last recipe of the cookbook. So that's year-round healthy holiday dishes. One of, all my cookbooks, I love them all, but this is one of my personal favorites because I love holidays. And I've been able to create recipes for all the holidays throughout the years. These are some of my best recipes, as you can tell. The whipped garlic, the chocolate zucchini cake, the blueberry pie, the whole Thanksgiving menu that I have been serving for 24 years. This is the best Thanksgiving dinner you will have. So if you get a chance, you can pick up a copy of Year-Round Healthy Holiday Dishes at macroval.com. Thank you so much for listening to my journey of creating whole and healthy cooking. And so I greatly appreciate all your support. And I've enjoyed sharing my stories of my recipes because all my recipes I have created and they're all very personal to me. And I'm very happy and when I get to pass them on and people make them themselves at home and then they contact me and say, I just made your chocolate zucchini cake and it's absolutely delicious. Or I just made your pumpkin lasagna and oh my God, it's my favorite now. That gives my heart joy when I hear how much everybody enjoys my recipes. So thank you so much for all your support and thank you for tuning in to Whole and Healthy Cooking Channel. Remember, your journey to eating healthy begins with one small step. Let's make that small step getting a copy of my cookbook, Year-Round Healthy Holiday Dishes.